Hello, and welcome to Theater 33 here in the BelRed Arts District. Today, we're going to be speaking to the BelRed Arts District Community Alliance Board of Directors to learn about their work here in the district activating the community. What is the BelRed Arts District? What is the Community Alliance? What are you doing here in the BelRed neighborhood?
The BelRed Arts District Community Alliance, we think of ourselves as the ambassadors, the activators, the amplifiers, and we are here to help the 60-plus creative businesses and organizations that call this part of BelRed home.
I think you kind of asked a loaded question a little bit because it's really two separate things. Like one is an entity, which is the art district itself. And the other is the Community Alliance, which is all of us. And that is to support and activate the physical presence of the artists.
As an organization, what is your vision for the Arts District?
The Arts District is a place for everyone to gather. We have musicians, we have dancers, we have people that are practicing martial arts. And right now we're in a theater. So everyone is welcome. Everybody is doing something, and we are all making art together.
We've got painters, we have fiber artists, we have potters. So lots of different things taking place all the time in this hidden gem.
We also have, this amazing theaters, right? We have the Kung Fu Academy next door. We have all sorts of different varieties of arts and cultural organizations in the neighborhood.
And when we think about the vision of the BelRed Arts District, it's a place for the businesses, the art businesses to gather, but it's also a place for people to drop off their kids for ballet lessons or spend the day in a pottery class or find a studio to sit and paint when they're just hanging around.
I love how you use the phrase hidden gems. What are some of the hidden gems of the Arts District?
I would say one of them is Theater 33. That's where we're here now. And does anybody know about it? Yeah, a lot of people do know. But we are in one of those post-industrial warehouse spaces that is tucked back. So when you know, you know.
Yeah, I think another hidden gem I would say is the Sit and Kit place. It's right next to a Harbor Freight in a plaza. And all of a sudden you kind of travel your car way back in and you see this great studio where you can sign up for classes, participate in painting lessons, and just do something creative.
And work on a project where somebody else cleans up.
Yeah.
Yes.
We actually also have a hidden gem in the form of an art gallery, Yanru. They are located in an unassuming office building that's down the street. And if you know it, you know it. And so we're trying to spread the words about that.
It seems like there's so much joy. Like you talk a lot about things that are in unassuming buildings, unexpected places. What are those moments of unexpected joy that you have witnessed or seen or been part of here in the Arts District?
I'm going to say do you mind if I jump in?
Please do.
It's the lack of things being pretentious. So when you think about arts and you think about like a fancy art gallery or like there's some art communities where people don't always feel like they belong, we've got old warehouses that have been turned into art galleries or working studios. And so it creates this environment where it's less intimidating. It's more inviting. It's more about community and creating this culture around the arts that makes it more accessible. It's more like you want to bring your family there, or you bring your friends, and people will say, I'm maybe not an artist, but I appreciate art. And then they show up and they participate and they're like, maybe I am an artist, but I've been afraid to go and take a formal painting class or do some of those things because of some of society's ideas about what some of these places look like. And it's a little unconventional here.
Right. Yeah, I don't think everyone who comes here thinks of themselves as artists, but there's a creative side to every one of us, everyone that comes to this community. And we really encourage them to explore that side, right, when they're here, whether through the pottery classes that you mentioned, right, through the yarn knitting classes, or, the music studio that Eden has.
And I think that everybody is welcome and should be encouraged to participate regardless of skill. So if you're a beginner or if you're a performing professional, you're welcome here and you should be here.
I really love that idea because really there's no expectations, right? A lot of the businesses that we talk to, they're always like, no matter the skill level that you have, you're always welcome to just come in, explore, try something new, and just release your creative side.
Without judgment.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing where people can let that guard down and just try to tap into that. And it is fulfilling. And I think it really brings us together as a community where we are united, and it grounds us as human beings, where we can focus on this well-being and this artistic expression, personal growth, and leading with kindness.
Where you can really find your own community here. I think that's super important is people go to these classes because they want to try something new, but they also want to meet people that are wanting to do the same things as them.
A great moment of joy was during the 2-line opening, and we have people painting the mural, even though it's pouring down rain, and we have bands playing and dancers on stage, and somebody turned to where Marie and I were standing and said, this is the first time it's felt like a community here. And it's like, those are the moments, right, that we all work for. And it's like, it might feel like it's one person, but it was only one person that voiced it. How many people felt like community was created in that one day?
So you've sold me. I want in. What is a day look like? Paint a Saturday for me in the Arts District. I show up on that 2-line. I get off the train. Then what?
I look at an amazing mural right now that we will have a grand opening for. And maybe I walk around a little bit confused. Like, I'll be candid, right? Like, you think Art District, you expect to get off the train and to see galleries and to see all of these things that you may have pictured. You don't necessarily see that because we talk about hidden gems, right? And so you might need to look a little bit. You might need to pull out your phone and go to our website and look at our map to see where are these places to go. And then I walk into some place and it comes to life. But I may not know that, only a sign over a door. And you open the door and then there's joy and there's life and there's color and activity. But again, it's you have to know where some of that is. And part of our job is to really create that awareness so people are drawn here and know what they're coming to see, know about places like this.
Yeah. For me, I would say, right, the 2-line is amazing. What a wonderful resource. I personally have music studios. I see my customers walking up the street with their guitars on their backs, their cymbals on their backs. It reminds me of when I lived in New York City and riding the subway. For me, a Saturday, I would say, is walking through the neighborhood, headed up to Mock's. I love their coffee. They make a great latte. I then walk through the neighborhood back to my studio, and I can see the children lined up at Pacific Northwest Ballet getting ready for their classes. As I'm walking closer to my business, I can hear the drums and the bands echoing out the back window.
Yeah, I think one thing that you'll notice when you're walking around is the car lines, right? Like Eden was saying, there are actually a lot of children taking classes, creative classes in the neighborhood, whether it's at the ballet theater, right, or at the Kung Fu Academy next door, or there's a cooking store around the neighborhood too, where they're taking classes, right? So the families, right, that actually in the neighborhood really enliven this place, the BelRed Art District, and that is something that is very tangible to a lot of people.
I'm hearing about this community, and I'm picturing the lines of kids and the latte I can smell and feel in my hand, and it seems great. What's the biggest issue facing the Arts District right now? What is the biggest problem you're working to solve as the Alliance?
Some of it's the biggest problem that's facing all arts, right, is the engagement and the support of arts and continuing to focus on how do we support artists, how do we get people involved in the arts, How do we create awareness? How do we create those first opportunities? And sometimes those opportunities, you don't know that you've missed them if you've never had them. But, we talk about kids being able to take classes or sit and kit, and the first time that they get to explore something and realize that a child is an artist, or the opportunity to paint or throw your first piece of pottery. So how do we create that engagement to keep people really connected to the arts and to understand how important that is to build culture and well-rounded lives, but also not just the children, but to welcome people of all stages of their lives to come in to participate and to touch something, to try something new.
I think another challenge is really breaking down the starving artist stereotype that we often hear. We want artists to be able to afford where they live, afford where they work, and keep them in a creative space like the BelRed Arts District. So the Community Alliance is really focusing on advocating for affordable housing and affordable artist housing specifically.
We are a very fragile ecosystem. So we are grassroots, and it's taken some of us 30 plus years to really become established. And for us, sustainability is very important. So retaining these spaces, having it, as Sandy said, be affordable for the small businesses and for the artists and everybody else coming through the neighborhood. As far as the environment, I like to compare us to the creek, which will be daylighted. It will be restored. So as that is nurtured, I feel that the Arts District is an ecosystem that needs to be nurtured and cared for as well.
I like to think of it as, also, we are working to draw more artists and community partners to the neighborhood, right? To amplify what we are doing as a group. Because right now we know that it's 60 plus organizations in the neighborhood, but we want it to grow. We want it to flourish, right? We really look forward to, making this sustainable so that, the next generations could enjoy it as much as we have.
Yeah, we talk about the next generation a lot. And I think that's where it really begins, is if you introduce a kid to creativity and show them that being creative can become a job, then arts and culture becomes the norm in their life and society and community.
I think of it as it's not always what we have now in the present, it's what we leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also a careful balance as you build a community and you attract people to want to be a part of it. It also attracts change in a way that can actually destroy what we are building. So you create an environment that's super popular. We've got apartments going up and people are wanting to move in. And then these old warehouses become very attractive to developers. And at that point, we start to lose the creative spaces. We start to lose affordable housing for artists. We've seen that happen in our big city across the pond here. It's like you see what happened in Seattle, and artists' lofts go away. And so we want to have development continue and growth here, but we also need to figure out a way that there's a good balance. We can't lose this beautiful culture that we have and have it become sterile and overdeveloped. So really, how do we balance those two things?
As you're doing this work, as you are engaging with the community and daylighting the creativity here in the Arts District, what has been the event that you have been most proud of, that you think reached the most people so far?
I think we would all agree that the Sound Transit 2-line opening celebration was our biggest achievement. And I know that we planned to date. And we planned for a long time, and it was joyful. And that's what our focus really was.
We planned for a long time, and we grew as an alliance, and we learned a lot. But we learned how to work together. We learned how to work together with the community, with the city. Mm-hmm. And then we got to see if what we planned and what we thought was going to happen was well received by our audience, and it was. So that's a big moment of joy, but a lot of discovery too. And this stuff takes time.
Right. I think we learned to work very well together as a team. We often very different backgrounds, right? And but we are all, drawn together by our passion for the community, for the art districts, right? And we learn to, complement each other's, our work and our working style overall. And so I think it's just lovely how we evolve as a group. We are more cohesive together. We really pick up where one's, when we need help. We are always there for each other as a team. And so that is something that we learned through the process of doing this opening party.
It sets the blueprint for what we'd love to see the community to be, right? Everyone helping each other to achieve this amazing common goal. And that was, we all had a belief in the goal. We knew what the mission was. We knew what the mission for the Alliance was, but we knew what the mission was for Two Line. And so to remain focused on that, and you really play off of each other's strengths. And it's its own work of art when that starts to happen.
It's also a proof of concept, too, because it's something that we imagined and we were actually able to pull it off. We learned about diesel generators. We learned about bringing in food trucks and permitting and stages and portable bathrooms.
Crowds will still come even if it pours down rain.
That's exactly right.
Pacific Northwest crowds are hardy. I will tell you, I loved the opening of the Two Line. It was a job done so well. There was my moment of joy that I think of most when I tell folks about the Arts District. The Blue Thunder drumline had just gone off and the taiko drummers were just coming on. And there was a little break. And as the taiko drummers started up, the construction workers in the apartment building next door were hammering against the wood in rhythm to the taiko drummers. And I was thinking, what a wonderful BelRed moment. Here are these two functions that are kind of at odds, right? Like a musical stage and construction noise playing off each other, embracing joy together. And that is one of my favorite moments of last year or so. So building on the success and the momentum of that Two Line opening, how are you continuing to engage with the community?
Well, this summer, we really wanted to be out there with the community, getting to know more people. I think that's important for us because we are boots on the ground. We want to have our finger on the pulse, and we want to know our neighbors. We want to mingle with the community. We want to know what they want and how to collaborate and have these joyful gatherings. So anywhere from tabling at the Botanical Garden for the Arts in the Garden event, which was 3 days, or movies in the park. Yeah. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to have that awareness of the community's needs and how to serve them.
Being there at the art fair, having volunteers handing out information about the Alliance and the Art District.
Yeah, that was important, right? I mean, we were spreading the words about the district at that art fair. What is more appropriate than that?
And it's really those two things, too, though. It's the district and the Alliance. And that seems to come up quite a bit. It's like it gets all lumped together, but the physical entity and then the support of the physical entity.
And I think my favorite part about, being out in the community and tabling was watching people come up and say, there's an arts district here? I thought there was just a Safeway distribution plant. And I'm like, no, wait, there's 60 plus creative businesses. What are you interested in? And being able to kind of list off some creative businesses that they could participate in or, do their research on. It was really cool to see them kind of explore the area, just like, we've done for since we've started.
I think we need to get the Safeway on board with being a creative business too, because it's an ice cream distributor. So we need on tap ice cream out of that Safeway warehouse. So I'm sold. How do folks get involved? How does the community get involved with the Arts District Community Alliance and with building this place?
That's such a big question. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm just going to drop a bomb. So let's try to unpack it, right? There's a lot of different ways to get involved. And some of it is being aware and talking to whoever you happen to be with and saying, did you go to the the opening at the gallery, have you taken a pottery class and creating that awareness, being additional boots on the ground. There's offering to volunteer. There's coming and moving into a space, actually picking the arts district as your location for where you're going to work or live, and to be able to say that. There's obviously donations and things like that come into play. We provide a lot of services for free, and we have to have funding. Like, bottom line is, but it's really about like people being able to give how and where they can in a way that feels connected to them. And maybe somebody's looking for their own community, and that's what they get, is by coming and volunteering and being a part of that. There's lots of ways to get involved and to get connected. You can find that on our website, and we're always all happy to talk to people about that.
Yeah, even if it's simply subscribing to our newsletter and staying up to date with what's going on in the BelRed Arts District, I think that's extremely valuable, especially right now as we're trying to spread the word about the Arts District is here and what the Community Alliance is all about.
I love your newsletter, by the way. It is to my mailbox, a bright pink and blue bomb of joy, telling me all the things. It's like where I plan out my weekend now. I deeply enjoy your newsletter. It is worth the click.
Well, don't forget about social media presence, right? The Instagram, we constantly are updating it almost every day, with events and happenings around.
I think it's prioritizing art. And I think that's a hard thing. I mean, we've seen school districts throughout the years cut arts and music. And it's like, how do we continue to prioritize it? And a lot of it is our behavior and how we support things. And whether that means going to something, volunteering for something, getting involved, talking about it, but engaging and being mindful about how you interact with art and how that's an important piece of culture and life and growth and awareness at any age.
I think it kind of goes back to how we are amplifiers and connectors. And the Community Alliance is really a resource for anyone and everyone who wants to learn more about the Arts District and want to get involved.
What have I not asked you? What do you want to tell me? What is it that's the thread that you're like, here's what you need to hear?
Like, what's the vision for?
What's the vision? What do you?
We've
what's
done
next?
that. We've done that exercise. Like, if you could do anything, there's no limits. What does the art district look in 5 or 10 years?
Yes.
And it's, there's some small things that I think are pretty easy for people to envision, that every brand new building that goes up, that first floor is creative space, whether that's a gallery, that's a working studio, it's a beautiful cafe. Like, let's not forget, like, food is art also.
Yeah.
And so being able to create spaces where communities come together, you can argue that, like, people can come together in a gym, but it's got a different vibe, right? Like, when you see a building and the gym is on the main floor, but what if it's filled with beautiful paintings? And if you have a building that doesn't have that, what about making your lobby open for gallery space and inviting local artists? So thinking about where you get off the train and you look around, and you don't need to look for a banner, although they exist, that say you're in the art district. And feel like that is the energy is all on arts alongside everything else.
I think looking forward into the future, a mural program is something that we're looking to strive for, as well as perhaps a music venue. We don't have a real big music venue where we can run national acts through. And that's something that I think that we are really ready for at this time.
I would love to see a community center of sorts, that where artists and others from the neighborhoods, could gather, right? They could come into a maker space, create art or anything that they want, meet other people. They could come into this community center and have a cup of coffee, right? Share their times with each other, really about building community. That's what we would love to see sometime down the line.
I really think of the activation of the place and really the outdoor spaces as well. Like, public art is accessible, and you pass it and you're able to look at it and go on your way, and then you come back and you're like, oh, this is one of my favorite pieces. And we've talked about like a wall where people can just come and paint and draw on, and it's so casual and there's no expectations, and people can just be creative in an outdoor space with other people.
What would you want to leave our viewers with today? So in this episode of Lake to Lake, they are going to see snippets of the Yanru Art Gallery. They're going to see Mox, Fruit Wine Co. They're going to see our murals. What have we not shown them? What do you want to leave in their mind today?
Come visit us. Come explore. See what you're going to find. It's a treasure trove of hidden gems, and everybody will find something different that's exciting and meaningful to them.
Sign up for a class. Get messy at the pottery studio. Take a sip wine and paint class. Take a knitting class. Just take a creative class and kind of experience a place where it's really full of joy.
It's the time to stop saying I can't do it and to say yes and to come and try something new.
Yeah, support us, support the art districts, support, creativity. That's what we want to see happening.
Because there's beauty all around us. We just have to open our eyes and be open to exploring it.
Well, thank you all so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
It was fun. It's nice to hang out in a theater and talk about arts, right?
The one thing that we didn't do was ask you a question.
Ooh, what's your question?
Like, what's your vision for the art district? You've been along on this journey and actually helped push many rocks uphill. So what does it look like to you?
I want to step off the train and I want to smell coffee and croissants and chocolate ganache. And I want to skip out of a cafe to go see a comedy show. And then I want to go to a light art exhibit and then check out a board game and have my family meet me. I want to have things for me as an artist where I can make, and I want to see other artists being amazing. I want to do it by myself sometimes, and I want to do it with my kids sometimes. I want all of those things, and I want murals and art and music to be happening while they're happening. I want it all, just little things.
Love it.
But together we can all make that happen.
Yes.
It can be a reality.
Exactly
But it takes a village.
Yes. If anyone can get it done, artists can get it done. I believe that. All right. Thank you, team.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.